Welcome back everybody to another HeroRR video, and today I bring to you guys my 2003 Honda VFR800. And this video, I got some hornets now after me. I've had such a tough time recording this video today because there's been so many setbacks. Now, I've owned this bike for over 8 years, and there's a lot to say about this bike and the ownership experience during that time. So, it's a 2003 Honda VFR800. Again, guys, it's a V4, which sounds amazing. And I'll have some exhaust clips before, too, because I've actually, I don't know, the eagle eyes of you out there can see I have the stock exhaust back on my VFR. Just a decision I decided to make, go back to stock. I'm kind of bring this bike a little bit back to stock, and I'll explain why later at the end of this video. But I do have an exhaust clip from when I had the Delcovic slip-on exhaust, and you can hear it, and it sounds glorious. Here's a clip for you right now. So yeah, it sounds awesome. You gotta love the V4. Has a really good grunt all the way at the bottom end to the top end. Now the big story with the VFR, this is the VTEC model, which in 2002 Honda ended up adding VTEC to their VFRs. So I had to change my filming location because a bunch of hornets got pissed off. But anyway, we are at a different location now. The same subject, though. This is my 2003 Honda VFR800. Ownership experience, let's talk about it. The reason why I bought this bike is to commute on. I wanted to commute. I was driving basically an hour to and from work for many years. And this is a... Are you kidding me? This is a sport touring bike from Honda. It's very reliable. It's very comfortable. And it's really a perfect commuter bike. It has about a 200-mile fuel range. And it's great for basically what I want to use it for. So in terms of reliability, my bike's been very reliable. Now, one thing I did end up doing is updating the rectifier on it to a MOSFET unit. As you guys probably saw in one of my other videos, I ended up having to redo the whole thing. There's like these wires that go into it as a connector. And the connector gets really bad after some time. It's a real common issue with these bikes. Make sure if you have a VFR that you look at that connector because it's well known to go bad on these bikes. But yeah, I've had this bike for 8 years. It's never left me stranded. I did have one issue where the battery was dead on it, and I guess I kind of was stranded. Some guy gave me a jump. That's the one time it's actually, I guess, left me stranded, but it wasn't the bike itself that did that. But other than that, it's been a real reliable bike. I put around 20,000 miles on it. It's sitting at about 32,000 right now. And it's been a good bike. I just do basically tires, oil changes. I did update the chain on it. I put a new chain on it, new sprockets. I think I do have a +2 in the rear, I believe. So I guess we'll talk about the mods. I have a Puig double bubble windshield right there. Looks pretty good. I did do the clear lenses for the front. The 06 and beyond had these clear ones. My 03 came with amber ones. I got these big, beefy frame sliders, which unfortunately have been tested a couple times. One time I had the cover on the bike, and I was at the time, girlfriend's house, and in the parking lot, the cover, I guess, blew the bike over. So there was no damage to the bike at all, but this frame slider has a little rash to it. It took the brunt. Freaking awesome frame sliders, though. And I love these frame sliders, too, because when you're riding, if you get tired of your foot being here, you can kind of put your foot up here and kind of, like open up your hips a little bit and get a little bit more comfortable. I also have Oxford heated grips right here, which they have the auto shut off, which is great. I have a gear indicator up here and a voltmeter down there, which I'll show you in a second. And of course, my quad lock right there. Well, actually, my whole cockpit here really needs to be revamped. As you can see, the brake reservoirs are starting to show some wear right here. And the windows are starting to get a little fogged up. And I know how to fix them, but it is a pain in the butt. And also, the heli bars themselves they're starting to rust. I need to take them off and paint them. There's a lot of little things I really need to do to this bike to kind of clean it up a little bit. Right here, this is the Sargent seat, and this thing is awesome. I really like the Sargent seat. Getting the seat off of this bike is amazingly easy. No tools required. You just put the key in here, turn it, and just pull up. and then boom, the seat's right off. So this sergeant's seat, right here, you have a hidden compartment where you keep the drugs. Now, this is where I keep my registration, and I keep a couple extra fuses. Never know, right? So you have this little compartment. Really cool. I love that they did that. But anyway, since we're down here in the guts of the bike, we can look at some of the other additions I have. So this is the battery, and you can see we got a lot of stuff hooked up to it. We have my power commander right here. We have a little fuse box. This fuse box houses a dash cam system. The dash cam system is actually tucked in there, but I'll show you that in a second. We have a speedo healer right there. So I have one camera right here, as you can see. And by the way, look at those. I love the stock exhausts. They just look they look pretty mean looking. Such a cool look. But yeah, I have one camera right here, rear facing. And then the other one in the front is right here. And they're very hidden. If you didn't know I had them, you wouldn't see them. They're very hidden. So I like that about this bike. And actually, now that I have my key, I want to show you that cockpit. Turn it on real quick. You can see the gear indicator, the voltmeter, and I even have some USB ports right there too. And if it's raining, I can close it. This will lift up and then I can close. So that's what I do if I did get caught in the rain. But as you guys know, I don't ride in the rain. So one thing I want to talk about with the styling of this bike is that it looks so good. I love the silver. This one in silver is my favorite. The silver looks so good. I love the way that this bike has all those really straight lines and cuts to it. It's kind of, people might say it's over stylized. The big giant headlights, they are kind of, I admit, they're a little feminine. It's not the most aggressive look in the front. You get the big headlights. The problem with the big headlights is it kind of looks like a scooter, right? Some of the scooters have those big headlights, which don't look great. But if you go to the side, I really like the side profile of this bike. We have, of course, these side-mounted radiators right here, just like my RC51. And you have this big opening, and then you have also these cuts in the fairings over here. We have this straight line that goes from the front, then this straight line as well with this flat panel, and then the air can scoop up right here. It's a really cool design how they have that. Your legs will tuck right in here. The air can go around your legs. This bike has a lot of good aerodynamics, as you can see. Of course, we have the rear single-sided swing arm, which looks so good. You get that nice view of the big single wheel. It is the not as desirable 5-spoke design, but it still looks really cool. I like it. And of course, I think the stock exhaust actually fits really well with this bike. I kind of like I know you guys are going to kill me for saying it, but I kind of like the chrome look a little bit. It kind of looks pretty cool. And of course, as you can see right here, we have a center stand. The center stand works pretty easily. Just put your foot down like this, turn the bars, and then, oh, am I strong? Just like that. And you're up on the center stand. You can check your bike out. My favorite thing about the styling is just this part. And then the gas tank too, how this cut meets up right there. It's a really well stylized bike. I'm going to go ahead and put this top case back on. All right, and now we can go ahead and do a ride on this bike, and we can talk about the riding experience of the VFR. We have the hydraulic clutch right here. Very easy to actuate, pull in, very light. So the dashboard, of course, we have the bike's temperature, which we're at about 150. And if we go and hit this button, we'll go to ambient temperature. We have the speedometer. We have the RPM gauge right in the middle. We have a fuel gauge and then an odometer right there. And of course, my gear indicator, which I added on. And then we have the voltmeter down there. Let's go ahead and start riding some of these twisties. They have been doing a lot of mowing and stuff lately. And there's a lot of this pine needle stuff in the road, a ton of it. So I'm going to be mindful of that. But the power off the line is pretty good. And the bike, just overall, the shifting feels, it's really clear, crisp, smooth. You know where you are. This bike's very easy to clutchless upshift, clutchless downshift. It's easy to do all of that. The handling, let's start with the handling. For a 530-pound bike, it actually handles pretty good. It goes over great. The weight, the only time you really feel the weight, I mean, maybe in some real tight stuff you feel the weight, but really the main issue is when you're moving the bike around the garage. That's when you feel the weight the most. And the bike, like, you get good leverage over the bars. I forgot to mention, well, actually I did think I mentioned, but I have these heli bars. I'm not sure if I mentioned it. The heli bars give you a little bit more of an upright seating position, but they also give great leverage over the bars. And I really like the heli bars on this bike. Kind of ran a little wide there. The pegs, the foot pegs are a bit low. If you're an aggressive rider, you will scrape your foot pegs. I've done it before on this bike. And just riding aggressively in general, you'll notice that it does have some limitations. It's very soft, the suspension. This part right here, which is super bumpy, if I give it a good amount of gas, like as you can see, I'm gliding right over these bumps. Obviously, when you go a little bit slower, you feel the bumps more, but it's not as bad as the RC I did earlier the other day. The RC was tough. Same with the HP4 and CBR, like they're all hitting these bumps. I mean, these are really tough bumps. I even feel them on the VFR, but the VFR does a better job at kind of softening those bumps for you. Now, of course, that just with anything in life, there's pros and cons to that. The pro is that it's softer and more comfortable and better suited for everyday riding, but the con is that you get a little bit of floaty feel in the corners, which I'll be honest with you guys, it's a con, but it's not really a con. I think for most riding, especially on the street, the floatiness that you feel in corners is not like bad. I actually think it's kind of confidence inspiring in some ways, because it kind of nullifies some of the feeling that you get when the road changes, or if you hit like a little bit of a bump. Like, it kind of holds it together a little bit easier for you. Of course, it's hard to translate what the bike's doing. Like, it's not as easily, you don't know exactly what the front end's doing like with the Super Sport, but it's pretty good. As for the braking, we have the combined brakes, and they work good. I think they work really good, actually, but I hate them, and it's like a love-hate relationship with the combined brakes, because as you guys know, I have a 5th generation VFR I'm working on, and I've been trying to get those combined brakes bled and I did all the lines and everything. It's been a nightmare, let's just say. So I'm not a big fan of combined braking, just because the maintenance and ownership side of things is really tough. But in terms of like performance, it's really good, actually. It's really safe. It's hard to lock up the rear of this bike, and I mean, I'm basically standing on the rear and it didn't lock up. And in fact, the bike slowed down pretty good because it's automatically applying some to the front. The same thing when you use some front brake. You feel it on the rear as well. It's kind of keeping everything stable. It's a kind of a clever system, and it works really well. But anyway, the handling's great. I really like the way this bike handles because of the floatiness, actually. It just, I don't know, it feels different. It's fun, and it's so upright. You have such good leverage over the bars with these heli bars, and it's so easy to weight the foot pegs. And actually, the foot pegs, I'll say, is kind of like the downside to it. It's good for you guys out there that have long legs and need to stretch your legs out. But for the most part, for somebody like me especially, like, I prefer the attack position more with my knees up. And I think if I had my knees up and like higher foot pegs, I think this bike would actually be really, it would kind of be in like the perfect seating position for me for like aggressive riding. It's kind of fun. It's a really fun bike to ride, and you know, it listens to you. It just listens to you, which I like. It responds well to your inputs. Let's gas it here. That's VTEC. And the brakes. Yeah, it's a cool bike. It's on the highway, it handles really well. It has great highway manners. I don't think I'm going to take it to the highway, but you can imagine it's, you know, you get a little bit of wind flow. The wind kind of hits you like in the head a little bit. It'll kind of come off the shield and hit you in the head. And it's not the most comfortable, I guess, like wind protection, but it's not bad. And I think a part of that is also because I have heli bars, I'm a little bit further upright. If you have a slight lean to you, if you have a slight, like, downward position, the wind would probably glance off you a little bit better. Yeah, and this bike, I don't know how to describe it, but it feels like you're riding a sleigh. like a toboggan or something. Like, it feels like a long bike. And I was thinking about this earlier, but one thing about the seating position, that it would be a little bit more comfortable if the bars were closer to you. You have kind of this stretch between you and the tank, between you and the bars over the tank, that you gotta like go over, and that stretch kind of puts a little bit more pressure on your back. You kind of just a little bit more of a stretch. You gotta lean a little bit. It's not bad. It's really not bad. This bike is by far the most comfortable bike I own. But for a touring bike, for a sport touring bike, it could use just a little bit more. And it's and I know some people hate when I call it a sport touring bike, because I guess technically I don't know if it's a sport, it is a sport touring, but like, it's not like an FJR. So I think it's a sport touring bike with emphasis on sport, and something like an FJR 1300 or even a VFR 1200 is like a sport touring bike with an emphasis on touring. Rev matching works great. Such a fun bike to corner. It's so good. It's so good cornering. It's so much fun. And it's not the fastest bike out there, but it has so much movement because it's so tall and soft that you just feel like you're going so much faster than you actually are. So why am I returning this bike back to stock, you may ask? Well, I don't know. I guess I want to... I've been toying with the idea of selling it, actually. And I mean, I don't want to sell it, but I also kind of want to sell it. And there's a couple other bike options I've been thinking in my mind. I've been thinking about another VFR, maybe try something else out. I have that 5th gen, but I don't think I want to keep the 5th gen either. I think I want to get like a 4th gen, or maybe an 8th gen. Like, I don't know. And I know that sounds stupid, but I kind of do. I kind of want to get like a 4th or an 8th gen. I don't know. That's a thought I've had in my head about returning it to stock. And also, I kind of like the idea of it being stock a little bit. Just trying it out kind of the way I got it, and going back to that for a while. I've kind of started to appreciate stock bikes a little bit more. Anyway, guys, that is the 6th generation VFR800. If you have any questions about this bike, please ask down in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer them all. It's a great bike. If you're thinking about buying one, I think it's a great bike if you can only have one bike. If you can only have one bike, and you want a bike that you can ride all the time, that you can also go on the twisties and do highway and all of that, and it's reliable, it's a great bike for that. However, just make sure you upgrade the charging system. You have to do that. You cannot neglect that. Please do not neglect that. So thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
It's a sick news for your little arrows out. Let me live my life, the one I'd better lead. All the plans of fantasies, and we looked at them 11 ways. You said, look at